Okay, so we are going to work on the center panel here and everything underneath of this. So what I did for, this is the top piece that has the two pockets M and N. I just measured and cut decorative paper that will go on top of this pocket, on top of this pocket, and underneath this pocket, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and glue those down. And for the two pieces that go under the pockets, I made them long enough that they would slide in. Like that, okay? And then they just get lined up with the edge there. And same thing with this one. So it slides into the pocket. And that it probably goes about an inch in. All right, so anyways, let me go ahead and adhere those down. If we open that up, let's see here. Okay, this was hiding from me. But this piece is what I have cut for the back side of A, okay? And then this was the leftover from, oh wait, wasn't it? Yes, that's gonna go somewhere else. I think that is, okay, so I'm going to adhere this down. So just again, just measure how big you want your piece of decorative paper, cut it, and adhere it down. Okay, and then this is going to be a pretty plain piece. I just want to showcase the paper. So then we're gonna move over, let's see here. This and this. All right, so we are now actually on the piece of chipboard, the center piece of, it says center under there, that, to which we have piece H attached, okay? So it's just got this attached to it, and what I'm going to do is in my Cricut Design space I created this, it's approximately, let's see here, it's approximately 8.5 by 5-inch frame, same deal as the other two. It's got this piece here with a 1-inch border on 3 sides and only a 1/2 inch on one side. So we're going to score on the 3 wider borders at 1/2 of an inch, and that's going to create a pocket. So I'm going to do that first. And of course this will be linked below so that you can access that project. A piece of crafter's plastic. So this is about 7.5, no, it's about 8.5, I think, by 5, 8.25, by about 4 7/8. This time I made it so that it didn't overlap our piece. So what I've done was I've also cut a piece of crafter's plastic, and I've cut a piece of decorative paper that measure the exact width and height of this piece. So once you have it folded and burnished on the 3 score lines, just measure the exact distance from one end to the other. So mine ends up being exactly 8 1/8, and I think that is exactly what I cut this to. so it should fit inside nicely. I might have to take just a tiny 1/16 of an inch off. Okay, it sits inside nicely without buckling my paper, but I am going to take a 1/16 of an inch off the top so it doesn't go past the edge. All right. So that sits in there nicely. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get my score tape and I'm going to adhere that in. Not to the flaps, but instead to the actual border of the window. To take this piece, which I want showing there, make sure that fits without it buckling. Which it does. I'm going to take a tiny sliver off the top, okay? And then I'm going to glue that to the back of the flaps. Is going to go there, but I am going to do another, I'm doing the shaker window thing again, so I'm going to go ahead and do exactly what I did to this one here. Okay, I'm going to put some foam tape around the edges, and I'm in the project that I linked below for this piece, you also have the frame itself without those 1/2 inch flaps. So you're going to need to cut that and another piece of plastic, which I forgot to get, so I will get that. Okay, so I've got my foam tape around this piece, okay, and I've also cut from the project, I've cut just the window frame itself without the 1/2 inch flaps. And I've cut a second piece of crafter's plastic, same size. It'll fit perfectly on this. It should fit. If it doesn't, trim just a little bit off, which I think I might have to do. Oh, I didn't cut the plastic evenly. Oh, I did not cut it evenly at all on this end. Okay, well that's an easy fix. So I'm going to adhere the piece of plastic directly on top, okay? And then I'm going to put in some sequins, and then I'm going to adhere this to the top. All right, so here is the shaker window. That is going to go on piece H. So So that is going to go there, but before we do that, I'm just going to set that off to the side. You know, a lot of the pieces are sticking to the foam tape. Okay, before I adhere that on, I want to go ahead and get these taken care of. So, what I'm doing underneath of H is I'm going to do 4 photo mats that measure, I think they measure 4 by 4 exactly. So you can fit a 4 by 4 picture trimmed down. And I'm gonna adhere those there, maybe there, and then I will fill in the extra space with decorative paper. So that's all that I did there. And then for here, let me remember. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna have a waterfall here. I think this one went on the right. So I have a piece of paper that a piece of scrapbook paper that I've just cut to the appropriate size to fit in the space above H. I'm gonna glue that on. And then you also need 4 waterfall flaps that measure 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. So 6 3/4 by 4 1/4, you need 4 of those. And you're gonna score all of those with the long side at the top at 1/2 of an inch. Just fold on those score lines, burnish those, don't miter them. All right, and then go ahead and figure out, like I said, what you want, what piece you want to go there. Cut and adhere that. Determine what you want to do here. If you want to do 4 by 4 photo mats, cut 4 of those, glue them where you want them. Once they're on, I'm going to take, I don't know if I want to do a strip of decorative piece here and here, or if I want to do one here and here, or if I want to move these down and do one at the tops. I don't know, but I will also cut strips of decorative paper to fill in those spaces, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, I've attached my decorative paper to that area. I'll show you that in just a second, but I'm gonna assemble these waterfall flaps super quick. So we've got a strip that is 12 inches. I have not cut down the length yet. I just kept it at 12 inches. And it's 4 1/4 wide, so that I can go ahead and adhere my 4 waterfall flaps to it. So I'm gonna do that now. So remember, these were 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. And we scored with the long end at the top at 1/2 of an inch. And now we are going to adhere them down. This is what I adhered down just a moment ago. I've got my 4 photo mats adhered down, strip of cardstock there, or decorative paper. And I've adhered this piece of decorative paper down as well. And for up here, the waterfall pieces will go there. So I am gonna cut this strip so it ends even with the last waterfall, because I'm not gonna be able to fit 5 across. So we're just gonna have these 4. So I'm gonna cut this strip even with the very last one. Okay, and that's what that's gonna look like. So we need to get a closure piece still. All right, so I left this open so that somebody could slide a picture down, or maybe put some, whatever they want down there. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it open. I was thinking about shutting it up, but I'm just gonna leave it open. All right, so we can adhere that down. that I forgot the closure piece. So I am just going to take a tiny piece of scrap paper and maybe prevent that from adhering there on the very end. I'm going to cut a piece super quick. Like maybe 6.5 long by 1 inch. So I did about 6.5 by 1 inch wide, okay? So about 6.5 inches long, 6.5 by 1 inch, and then I scored it 1/2 and 5/8 so that I have some space here, okay? And then I will stick that under there. I will slide that under, hopefully that will work. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. So, there is in the file from which you cut this, there is the decorative border piece that you can cut, or you can just cut strips, whichever you prefer. I haven't decided yet. So you need to cut a piece of decorative paper to go on the front and the back of this. After you put your magnets on, of course. And then you need to decide what you want to put on the front and back of each of your waterfall pieces. So I will also decide that. So yes, I will decide how I want to mat the rest of those in a bit. For now, let's move along. Okay, so over here we have panel B. Okay, it's next to the main chipboard panel. So on panel B, we've got this pocket and we've got this flap here. So again, for each of these spaces, you're just measuring and cutting. So under the pocket and on top of the pocket, I used 1 piece of scrapbook paper. So it makes one, one cohesive or one fluid design. So I'm going to adhere those down. So just measure, cut, whatever you want there. Oh, actually, do not adhere this piece yet, sorry. You can adhere the piece on top of the pocket, but don't adhere this one yet. Because we have 2 photo flaps that are going to go there, and those measure so those measure 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. 6 1 by 4 3, and you're going to put them on your scoreboard with the short end at the top, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch. You do not have to miter these because this edge and this edge will not meet up with any other edges, so that does not need to be mitered. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to simply glue them to the edges of panel B or piece B, okay? And you can do it however you want. You could offset them a little bit. You can line them up evenly. I might offset them. That would be kind of cute. Okay, so now I will adhere this piece on. Okay, so these will be photo flaps. You can mat those however you wish. You can leave them plain, you can put journaling cards on them, you can put actual solid color mats, whatever you prefer to do. And then for this one, so for the back of this flap and for the front of this flap, oh, this one sticks out, but that's okay. I didn't think about that. So if that bothers you, just think about that before you adhere these on. I offset them, which I like that look, but this one sticks out. No big deal. Okay, so on the back of this flap, I'm just adhering this piece of paper down. It just happened to be the one I wanted to use, but it was already cut in half, so it just made me think that I could hide that seam with a piece of cardstock that I will glue with one single strip of glue down the center, so that when I'm done, it's open on both ends to stick stuff under there, okay? And then I will mat it with this. So that's what I'm doing there. Just let that dry for a minute. Now we can place things under there on either side, just to kind of hold it in, okay? And on the top of this flap, so this piece here, so this piece measures 5 3/4 by 4 1/4, and I scored it as a pocket. So with the long end at the top, I scored it just on the 1/2 inch, but with the short end at the top, I scored it 1/2 and 1/2. So 5 3/4 by 4 1/4, and we're making a vertical pocket. So then, let's see here. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to adhere it to the bottom and right edge of piece F. And then this piece here measures 3 1/4 by 3. Well, it's supposed to measure 3 1/4 by 3, but I guess I grabbed the wrong piece. Let's see here. All right, so this piece is supposed to measure 3 1/4 by 3. And with the short end at the top, I scored it 1/2 inch. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is that's going to be our lid. All right, right, and then what I'm also doing with this is I am going up 1/4 inch from the bottom. So here's our flap sitting at the top. I'm going to measure so I'm folding the flap under. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do with the flap because we're measuring from the bottom. So I'm going to measure 1/4 inch up from the bottom. Is that right? No, 1/2. Okay, 1/2. And I'm also measuring the center here. And I'm just gonna cut. So that is what that will look like. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this down. I think I'm gonna start with the right flap. Okay, so that is that. So figure out what you want to put here. All right, and I will, so this is just this part, well, actually, I will show you how I'm going to keep these two closed, but so we have to do that before we mat. So I will show you that. I'll come back to that and I will show you how I do that. But for the most part, a lot of our major stuff is done. Okay, so then the very last piece, which is C, it has D and E attached. Oh yeah, and we still have to do the pockets on the back. Okay, so for this, just figure out what you want to put on these two flaps. Okay, and then glue those down. Okay, and then on the back side, I guess I have not yet decided what I want to go on the back of the flaps, but for C, I am going to use these two. And we also need, we need a piece of cardstock that is 8 1/4 by 6. Eight 1/8 by 6. I created a horizontal pocket, so the long end is going to go at the top of your scoreboard, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. And then with the short end at the top, just 1/2 inch. Ooh. All right, so make sure that your clean edge is at the top. Okay, so my flaps are on the left and the right and the bottom. And we are going to measure 3 inches up from the bottom right corner. And then we are going to measure 2 inches over from the top left corner. I am going to cut from there to there. I have a pocket that sits in there, like so. That's not right. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, it is right. I was just looking at it wrong. I had it in like this. So our flaps are still on the bottom, the left and the right, and it sits in like that. So then when this gets matted, that's what it will look like, okay? And I'm gonna use this piece here, most likely. Maybe it's too much blue, I don't know. Let me think about that, but we can go ahead and get this piece in for now. So there is quite a, I guess, yeah, there's like 1/8 of an inch of space over here, which I probably could have gone a little bit wider with the pocket, but that's okay. All right, and then let's see here. So for the back of whatever pieces these were, I think Deity, just, you know, measure and cut whatever you want to go there. And for this piece will be pretty easy to figure out. Maybe I will use this, I don't know. Let me see if I want a different design piece for the top of the pocket, and then I'll show you how I mat that. All right, I'm just gonna go with this piece. So to mat this, you're simply going to pretend that it is a rectangle. You're not going to account for the slanted cut. So this measures 7 1/8, so I'm gonna cut my piece down to 7. And this measures 5 1/2, so I'm gonna cut that to 5 3/8. So 7 to 5 3/8. And then I'm just gonna line it up with the bottom left corner. Well, I'm just gonna line it up everywhere so that I've got my border, my tiny little border all the way around. And then I'm gonna line my ruler up directly on the edge of that slant there. Directly over top of it. And I don't know, oh, there it is. And now all I have to do is cut 1/8 of an inch down from that line. There we go. Perfect. So I'm going to adhere that down. Okay. So again, just figure out what you want to go on the backs of these two flaps. Cut and paste those. And let's move on to let's see here. Let's move on to this piece, okay? So, I don't know what I'm doing here yet. I thought I had it figured out, but maybe not. Okay, so we need to get our lids so that they stay shut. And I didn't do that yet. Oh my goodness. This is why I don't usually like to record myself making albums, because I don't know what it is, but when I'm actually recording, I just go so fast and I forget things. I don't know if I go so fast, but I definitely forget things. If I was not recording, I would not forget anything. And I would do all the appropriate steps. Okay, so we can still get these to shut. We can still add our closure mechanisms, I should say, even though we've matted. All right, and I might do 2 magnets on each one just to be safe. The size of the space above the pockets, I've cut and measured and cut a piece that will fit there. Same thing with on top of these pockets here. I've just measured that space and cut a piece of scrap paper that will fit on those pockets. And I still have not figured out what will go under. I'll do that. But for now, we can put these on. Okay, and then for these 2 lids, I did the same thing that I just showed you, well, sort of the same thing I just showed you a moment ago. So I will show you how to do, I'll show you how to do that again using scrap paper. So what you want to do is you want to measure it as if it was an entire rectangle. So from here to this point is about 3 3/8, and the width, or I should say the length, is 8 1/8. So I am accounting for a border, so when you see, if I line this up, I've got my tiny little border all around. Okay, I've got the border here, the border here, and the border there. So you can use glue dots if you'd like to kind of line that up and get it stuck on. Or you can hold it down and move it over. Just make sure your glue dots will reposition, they are repositionable. Then you can do that. Okay, and then all you have to do is cut, let's see here. How did we have that? We had it on like that. So you need to cut like 1/8 of an inch up so that when you are done, that is what you have. Perfect. Okay. So that is this piece, with the exception of, oh yeah, that's important, we have to do the other side as well. So exact same thing on the other side, okay, except that you want to line it up like this. Okay, so I'm leaving my little usual 1/8 of an inch border. This one looks bigger only because these lids have a little spine. So you will line it up exactly like that. If you can get it to stay, which I think I can in this direction, you'll trace, and then you'll cut 1/8 of an inch up, okay? So that's all you have to do there. So figure out what pattern paper you want on the back of the lids, cut those, adhere those down. Okay, so for this piece on the back of C, I have this left over from here. So I'm gonna put her there on the left. And then I have 3 pieces of cardstock, which, figure out where I am. I think they measure 3 1/4 by 3 3/8. I'm sorry, 3 1/4, yes, 3 1/4, but 3 3/8 times 2, which would be 6 3/4. Okay, so 6 3/4 by 3 1/4, and then you're going to score that in half with the long end at the top, so that when you're done, you've got 3 of those that look like this. And then what I'm going to do there is, I will not adhere her down yet, but these 3 are going to go perfectly centered within the remaining space. And on top of them, I'm going to have this cardstock here. Okay, and then they will open to reveal whatever you want. Pictures, journaling, you name it. So the bottom end needs to get, so the entire bottom needs to get adhered down. So I think we're safe to go ahead and adhere this because I cut it properly. And then of course we have to figure out how to keep these closed. So we could do simple magnets, and I think, you know what, I'm gonna have them so they open to the right like a book. So the opening is on the left. That way whatever I use to open it doesn't go off the edge of the page. I don't know, maybe I'll just do little pulls again. That's what I'll do, yes. So then I will use a magnet to close each of these, I think, with a little pull tab, okay, and decide what I want to do on the inside, and then I'll come back and show you what I did. And actually, I think I'm ready to, I just need to show you how to do this, and then I will decorate as well, but I'll come back in just a minute and show you what I did here. so for the finishing touches for this center or right panel, let's see here. So I just backed some of the cards onto cardstock for the pockets. Okay, this is a large, semi-large anyways, just photo collage to slide in there. This is a little 4x6 booklet I made. You can put pictures on both sides of all of them. Okay, so that's that double pocket. This side I'm just showcasing the paper. I put I Want to Be in the Sea here. This is part of the ephemera, and then these two flowers, I cut those out from the ephemera papers as well. I don't have anything in these pockets yet. Haven't decided what I'm going to do there. Excuse me. So some of the ephemera cutouts, I adhered to the window frame. There we go. And then same thing for these 4 photo mats. I've got an ephemera cutout here and here. And then I made sure everything here was matted. So I'm leaving room for pictures on the left, but there are journaling cards on the right sides. I made sure I matted the spaces in between. I matted this here, matted this. I also matted all the spines, as you can see, okay? So all the spines here have been matted, and this one as well, inside and out. Let's see. So there's another spine that got matted. It was matted there as well. So for these, I just put mermaids on the outside and places for photos or journaling on the inside. Oh, I gotta fix that. And I left her plain. I went ahead and just did some ephemera cutout for this. A bunch of 4x6 cards for photos on the back. You could also journal if you wanted to. I just used leftover scrapbook paper, you know, from scraps. I just made these. And then of course I've matted these two since the last clip. And I put a couple of, I guess you could call them bookmarks if you wanted to. I made a couple of bookmarks again, just from scrap paper in there. Another ephemera cutout here. Another ephemera cutout here. I wish I were a mermaid. And then I haven't stuck anything back here, but you can stick something underneath of this strip that goes down the center. Okay, I matted the fronts and the backs of these 2 photo flaps. And for this pocket, I just made a whole bunch of tags. I have not yet done anything to the tags. I don't know if I will. I don't want to put too much bulk in here or too much bulk under here and under here, so I'm not sure, but I will do that behind the scenes, so another time. But again, just took scraps from the paper collection. And I believe that is it for all the finishing touches on this center panel. So now I will show you how I mat the front cover and decorate it. And of course this closure panel is blank still. So we have to mat that and we have to do the entire front and back cover, okay?